My name is Gavin Keirans. I'm the current UPUA president. I'm a junior business management major as well as labor and employment relations liberal arts degree. I'm running for the office of UPUA president, running for re-election. This past year I served as the UPUA president. I feel like we had a really great year as far as furthering the causes of UPUA. We had a lot of great initiatives that we got started, such as the online book exchange, the tenant-landlord mediation, and there's one that's still lingering out there as far as legal services that I'd like to see complete as well. But beyond these kind of concrete initiatives you can point to, I feel like I have a duty to the student body to continue on with the work I did. UPUA is only in its third year still, and there's still a lot of work to be done as far as legitimizing it, and I feel like that I'm the best person to make that a reality. Hillary and I's campaign is called the Restoration of the Student Body. That is the platform which we're running on, a 30 document which basically is kind of almost the thesis of my time in office and my time as a student leader, and my commitment to better serving the student body and my constituents as a whole. UPUA, in its intention, is designed to be the official student government of Penn State, the official voice for students. We have a seat at the table of the Board of Trustees. I sit at the Alumni Council on various administrative boards and have a lot of influence as far as what goes on. One could argue, though, that on a campus with over 700 student organizations, many organizations which are quite powerful in their own right and have a major role in this campus, that UPUA doesn't always act as that student voice, or at least in the past hasn't. And that's gone out through the idea of student governments in the past. Really the last model you had of a strong student government, which was representative of the whole student body, was the all-college cabinet, which was the official student government in the 40s and 50s. That's why this year when I created my platform, I really wanted to incorporate that idea of the all-college cabinet, but at the same time, while keeping the assembly of the students being voted in democratically by a student body at large election. What this all-college cabinet would be is basically a board that would meet. Formerly, there's a cabinet of student leaders made up of all the major student leaders. This would be my executive board. This way, when the UPUA president spoke, or the UPUA president wants to do an initiative, he could bring legislation to the assembly, and he could truly be speaking for the whole entire student body. At the same time, there would still be that check by the assembly. And in the long term, it would be hopefully that the assembly would be made up of really prominent student leaders as well, hoping to one day sit on this all-college cabinet and take over these president's role. I feel like this model would really kind of establish UPUA as its true intention of being the official student voice of Penn State. Hillary and I are both running on the idea, again, of restoring the idea of the student body. There's some concrete things you can point to as far as legal services, which is still out there. That was one of the main initiatives that we focused on this year, and specifically it was one of my main ideas. From the beginning, and when I first was elected, I put out a 40-day plan, and I was a little naive. I thought I could have it up and running by the fall semester, and that would be that. Since that time, I've kind of experienced the inner workings of how things occur here and how you get off long-lasting programs. It's taken over a year, but really we're as close as ever. I've been working with the Dickinson School of Law, with the Office of Student Affairs, and really have it all set up and ready to go, have space cleared out, have everything right on the brink of getting started. The last piece of the puzzle is the funding issue. There's a couple options. The most concretely would be for the Student Activity Fee Board to approve the use of legal services, which we're on the verge of doing, and we have some key meetings moving forward. If this were the case, legal services will be up and running by the fall semester. In the event that it doesn't happen, then we have some other creative ways to ensure that students have these free legal services. Another thing that we wanted to do is this year we implemented the tenant-landlord mediation program. While in theory this is a great idea, how it's currently set up needs some more restructuring. When I looked at it as far as the early successes and early failures of it, I saw other models at other schools. One in particular is Ohio State, which teamed up with their Department of Off-Campus Living through their student affairs sectors. And they would have landlords sign up ahead of time and agree to good faith mediation, so that when students have an issue, they could come in if their landlord's already on the list. It would work out, and this way it's kind of a long-lasting entity, combinations between students, the student government, and a branch of student affairs, the idea of shared governance. Another idea that's really prevalent as far as concrete is the idea of the Good Samaritan policy, or medical amnesty, whichever one you want to call it. This is really becoming popular across the nation, especially with Cornell University kind of taking the lead early on. And we're hopeful that we can get some type of model like that up here. Basically what it would be that if, say I had a friend who was too intoxicated, I called the police, I was underage, or I could be given furnishing if I'm overage or something like that, that I would receive a pass as far as being given sanctions, and also that he would receive a pass on receiving sanctions. There's the argument that's back and forth that I know we're going to hear as far as the liability issues and really personal accountability, but I feel like this is something that's bigger than that, and it's about safety, and that's something we need to focus on. Outside of that, though, those are the concrete things that you can point to. I got a chance to do a lot of concrete things you can point to this year, but really I want to take the opportunity to go out and do a lot of outreach. We have over 25 people coming back to UPUA next year. We have a really diverse group of student leaders that I know can do a great job and can kind of fill in and take much larger roles next year. With that being said, I know now I have the opportunity to do some things that I've always wanted to do. One of those I talked about is the all-college cabinet made up of all the various student leaders being a part of the UPUA executive board and kind of having the true student voice within UPUA, having all the major leaders so that the president can speak on behalf of the student body. The other is, some might call it ambitious, but my goal is to speak to every freshman on the floors, talking about the traditions of Penn State while intertwining it with the experiences of the present, to kind of give them the full sense of what it means to be a Penn Stater, also while enforcing the idea of being involved. Not so much in UPUA, but finding your own niche on campus and taking that to the fullest. My goal is to do this within the first 2 months. I've already set up meetings with Diane Andrews, who's the Director of Residence Life. I've met with the Business Auxiliary, Associate Vice President Gal Hurley. So this is already starting to move forward, and if elected, this is something I definitely want to do. There's something as far as outreach, you know, people can read about me in the paper, but unless I'm going out there and talking to them, unless I'm going out there and talking to the students, then really my title's meaningless. And that's something to remember as far as for any candidate. You can do as much legislation or speak on behalf of the students as you want, but unless you go out there and do that outreach, it's meaningless. And it has to begin with the freshmen. You have to start new. You have a clear opportunity to bring in a new generation of thought, new generation of leaders, and I'd like to help make that impact. Well, I don't necessarily think it should be about me personally. It should be what about impacts the student body as a whole. And there's always going to be issues. So when you set out your platform, you need to kind of say, these are my big 3, these are my big 5 initiatives, and focus on them. And have other people within UPUA kind of take the lead on other initiatives. Because there's always going to be major issues that you as the president have to take the responsibility for. When I first was elected, there was a major issue of Phi Delta Theta fraternity losing their charter and losing their house, and that's still ongoing. That's something I still try and stay in contact with. Those type of issues, and there's always going to be major issues on campus, but the ones that always resonate, the ones that no matter year to year, there's always the question of the ever-increasing amount of expenses and fees and tuition costs. While everyone would like the idea of freezing tuition or freezing fees, in reality, that's not going to happen with how the university works and how it works with the legislator. With knowing the realities and with the experience I've had, I feel like I have the strongest ability to kind of go in there and best represent the students on those type of issues. Just today I had a meeting with the governor of Pennsylvania, so I feel like of all the candidates, I really kind of have that chance to make a major impact on that issue, which I've already started to this year. Another major issue that will always be around is the idea of what is a student-centered university? What is the idea of shared governance with the administration and the students? Since my time here, I've seen highs and lows. I've seen positives and negatives as far as administrators' role, the relationship between students. I feel like we're at a point where we have some really good student affairs officers. That being said, there's always room for improvement. And it's ideas like this all-college cabinet, by bringing the power to within students' hands and bringing their true voice to students' hands, that we can really accomplish things.